What was the reasoning behind your decision to start your own firm, right? Like, I guess what led to that?
Yeah, I say it's planes and prostitutes. That's the reason why I did. And it's, I came out of the U.S. Attorney's Office and I passed up being a partner at, major law firms. And, at the time we were having an executive coach and her saying to me, like, are you sure you want to do this? And at first I'm like, well, yeah, I do. And, she's like, yeah, the money's one thing. You're passing up a lot to go this other route. But I'm concerned about you. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you have this passion when you talk about it. Like, it's just driving passion that I'm a little concerned you're going to get burned out. And so it's time. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's all nice, but of course I'm going to go do this. And I did. And so I ended up in this, I was very idealistic in terms of what I thought a plaintiff's attorney was supposed to be. And I ended up with a couple of firms where the values weren't aligned with where I was, but I had the good fortune of actually finding someone within those firms, Roopal Luhana, who's my law partner now, who really our values were aligned, and we worked a lot together. And eventually, after just a couple of situations, we had a client where Roopal and I were getting on a plane to fly to Los Angeles to try a case, and literally we landed in LA, and we got word from one of the partners that it was my client, and without telling the client, the case got settled. And so I'm just like, you know what, like, this is complete bullshit. This isn't the way I want to practice my, my cases and my, the area of law that I want to practice in. And so we just decided we should start a firm. So
what were those values? I'm curious, when you and Roopal met, like, what were the values that you were aligned on? Were you a partner person at the time? Like, did you anticipate, kind of going that route?
Yeah. So I was an associate. She was an associate, but she was actually coming right out of law school. And of course, I had the experience I did in terms of big firm clerkship and then federal prosecutor. So I felt like I knew a lot more than I probably did at the time. But so we were doing a lot of securities fraud litigation at that time. And so we spent a couple of years working together. I became a partner at the firm I was at that time. We actually left and then went to another firm and started up the mass tort practice at the other firm. And I remember sitting down with the partners of the second firm, and Roopal was actually expecting with one of her daughters at that time, and them kind of going like, wait, you're bringing her with you? She's expecting. And I'm going like, are you kidding me? This day and age, we're actually having this conversation. And so he's like, yeah, of course I'm vouching for Roopal of all people. Like, she's worked harder than most anybody, expecting, and just tremendously hard worker. But yeah, I think for us, it was the values, loyalty, family is really important. Certainly hard work's critically important. And, Roopal's just wickedly smart and really capable person and a great lawyer. So
how would you describe the dynamic between the two of you?
Between the two of us, it's interesting. I think we understand the dynamic better, having worked with Chris and Jess, and certainly understanding our print and Colby, for example. But, it's interesting. When we first started, I did a lot of, sort of bigger picture. I would do depositions. Roopal did all the prep for him, did a lot of things like that. And so she's very detail oriented, whereas I was more bigger picture. And of course, loved doing cross examinations. And so that was probably our early on dynamic. And now flip the roles, and, Roopal's in Florida today and this week and next week arguing Daubert motions and the Zantac litigation. My other partner, Pat Boos, trying a case in Pittsburgh right now. And it's really been an adjustment for me in a really good way, a very positive way, just to step back and, be able to support them and what they're doing. And, it comes full circle.